Welcome to part 3 of solving rational equations. This one looks a little bit different, but nonetheless it should be familiar to you because you do see the square root sign, which you're used to. And now the question is, how do we eliminate that radical sign? We don't want to have that sign there because we won't be able to solve the equation. And most of you do remember that if you do square if you square a radical sign, it will be eliminated. So the first step would be to get the radical sign all alone on the left side. So let's subtract 1 from both sides. And we get square root of x plus 3 on the left. And we get 3x minus 1 on the right. Now if we square both sides, it should come out, to be able to do much easier. So let's square both sides. Which you're allowed to do in any equation. You could do this as long as you do the same thing to both sides, you're fine. So we square both sides, and on the left side we're going to simply get x plus 3, which makes things a lot easier. On the right side you're going to have to use FOIL, and just to remind you how this works. 3x squared is the same as 3x minus 1 squared is the same as 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1. And we'll use FOIL to combine the factors. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. Negative 1 times 3x is minus 3x. And negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And that's all equal to x plus 3 on the left side. Let's combine like terms. So we finally get 9x squared, a negative 3x, and a negative 3x is minus 6x plus 1. And that's equal to x plus 3. And naturally, we'll have to move the x plus 3 over to the other side. So we're going to subtract x and subtract 3 from both sides. Subtract x, subtract 3. And if we move this up a little bit, we get 0 on the left side, and we get 9x squared minus 7x minus 2. And now we're either going to have to use the quadratic equation or factor this. Those of you who remember how to do foolproof factoring will know how to factor this one. And so we get 0 is equal to 9x plus 2 times x minus 1. I don't know why I put a 3 there. So let's erase that. And once again, if two factors multiplied together equals 0, that means one or both of them are equal to 0. So either 9x plus 2 is equal to 0, or x minus 1 is equal to 0. If we solve the left side, we subtract 2 from both sides, we get 9x equals negative 2. Divide by 9, you get x equals negative 2 ninths. And on the right side, we add 1 to each side, so we get x equal to 1. Now, since the equation was squared as part of the solution, we do need to check to see if our solutions are real solutions. Sometimes when you square, that can add what's called extraneous solutions. So let's look at our original equation, and let's substitute negative 2 ninths. We would get the square root of negative 2 ninths plus 3 plus 1 is equal to 3 times negative 2 ninths. Under the square root, we would get, for those who know your fractions, you will get negative 2 ninths plus 27 over 9, and we do that so we can actually subtract them. And we'll just continue with that. On the left side, that would give us a square root of 25 25/9. And the square root of 25/9 is the same thing as the square root of 25 over the square root of 9, which gives us 5/3 plus 1 on the left side. On the right side, you'll notice we get 3 times -2/9, which is going to be equal to a -6/9, which is a -2/3. And without even reducing the left side, you could certainly see that the number on the left is greater than 1 and the number on the right is less than 1. They are not equal. This was an extraneous solution, and therefore we reject it. Extraneous solution. So now let's see if our x equals 1 works. So let's try that on the other side. Let's substitute. So we have the square root of x plus 3. If x is 1, we put a 1 there. Plus 1 is equal to, the right side is 3 times 1. That becomes a square root of 4 plus 1 equals 3. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. And we certainly could see that that is correct. And therefore, our only solution is x equals 3. And there you go. Hope you enjoyed this one. Now you should notice the steps that we took to solve this problem. Going back to our algorithm that was at the very top, we have the same algorithm that we had on our previous two parts that said multiply by the least common denominator. You might notice that there is no least common denominator here. In this case, there is no fraction. So what we really should say is simplify both sides and multiply by the least common denominator if necessary. In our case here, you might remember what we had to do was we had to take the left side and we had to simplify it to remove the square root sign. So sometimes you have to do something like that. Sometimes you have fractions where you have to simplify that and then find the least common denominator if necessary. It all depends on the type of problem. And I hope these three parts have been useful to you. And now it's your turn. So here's a problem, very similar to the one we just did. It says solve the following equation. The square root of 4x plus 3 equals 2x. And this was part 3, not part 1. We'll fix that problem. If you have any problems with that, please review the screencast. You could rewind it and try to follow the steps as you do this problem. That might be helpful. Thank you. Good luck, and see you again next time.